Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and this is the channel where I went to business school so you didn't need to, and today we are talking about Palantir Technologies PLTR stock and Sofi Technologies SOFI stock. In this video, we will be analyzing 4 articles, to where the first one is titled, Palantir Closes in on Controversial UK Health Data Contract. And if you're familiar with my previous work, I predicted that Palantir Technologies will win this $579 million contract. Now, this contract can be worth anywhere from $570 million up to $590 million, depending on the exchange rate between the British pound as well as the US dollar. But either way, this is going to act as a phenomenal catalyst for Palantir's overall share price, potentially causing it to surge to around $20 per share, even though right now it trades for around $15.35. The next article we're going to be dissecting is about how an investor celebrity named Jim Kramer recently gave his viewers the go-ahead to buy Palantir Technologies. And this is not the only stock he has recently started to support, because in a previous video, we also talked about how Jim Kramer from CNBC's Mad Money also has started to support Sofi Technologies SOFI stock. So we're going to consider Jim Kramer's comments on both Palantir's PLTR stock and Sofi's SOFI stock to determine whether or not these are good picks, because overall, I normally do not agree with Jim Kramer, but since we've been reporting on these companies for over 2 years, I think we should look into what he's saying about these companies. And then last but not least, we're going to discuss Sofi's upcoming earnings report, which will be released on Monday, October 30th. So if you like Palantir Technologies or Sofi Technologies, don't forget to go and annihilate that like button right now. Literally go ahead, press it right now, because it helps me out a ton. And if you own Palantir or Sofi Technologies, you would want other people to see this video so they can invest as well. As always, comment down below your thoughts and price targets about whether or not you believe Palantir will win this contract or not, and how high you think the Palantir share price or the Sofi share price could go over the next 12 months. And if you're feeling generous, don't forget to support me personally by becoming a member of this channel for as little as 99 cents, because that's what keeps me here on YouTube. But without further ado, I say let's jump right into today's stories. Starting off with Palantir Technologies, which is a big data and analytics company which serves both commercial enterprises as well as government agencies, and this company specifically specializes and focuses on artificial intelligence as well as machine learning, and they have emerged as the top pick for a huge contract with the United Kingdom's National Health Service, also known as the NHS. This is going to be a 5-year contract with the potential to extend it another 2 more years, and currently it's worth around £480, which equates to $579 million. And this contract is designed to hire a specialized software company that's designed to help this agency analyze medical data, detect patterns, and ultimately overhaul its entire system. And for me personally, there is no other commercial entity that would be a better pick for this than Palantir Technologies, which is why my prediction is that Palantir will win either half or the entire contract. Now, this does not guarantee that Palantir will win this contract, but I think that they are easily the #1 pick. And if you didn't know, the government was already on track to announce Palantir as the winning bid of this contract as soon as this month. So it seems that my prediction could potentially come true, but there are a lot of caveats here, because some watchdog groups and politics are getting in the way of this because they don't want Palantir to have access to all of this data. Many people look at Palantir as somewhat of a black box, not knowing how it works or what it does with all of this data, so that creates fear, uncertainty, and doubt in these individuals, and they don't want Palantir to have access to this information. So the arrangement is extremely unpredictable and very controversial, but it doesn't change my overall thesis that Palantir will win half the contract or the entire contract, which I think is the most likely scenario. Palantir and the National Health Service have already done business with each other multiple times, which is why I was surprised to see that the NHS's chief data officer said in a statement back on August 25th, where he says, and I quote, "A software vendor would never hold or have access to NHS data for any purpose other than as directed." However, this is interesting because in 2020, a leak of a former contract between the NHS and Palantir Technologies stated that Palantir Technologies was allowed access to various sensitive data and information about patients, employees, and even members of the public society in an attempt to help the healthcare service. So Palantir Technologies was given data over and above above their overall scope of the contract technically, which directly refutes the NHS's chief data officer, so I don't know why he made that statement when it's just utterly and blatantly false. To put this into perspective, the NHS is the United Kingdom's National Health Service, and it is a publicly funded operation by the government through taxpayer money. And this institution cares for 67 million people living across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. So this is not a little bit of personal data we are talking about. We are talking about Palantir gaining access to millions and millions of people's very intimate data here. However, if they end up going with Palantir, Palantir will help them optimize their overall staffing because they have had staffing shortages and various backlogs which have delayed urgent procedures. And Palantir is going to make this entity more efficient and effective at what they do, which is ultimately going to help these 67 million people. Lastly, the author of the article says that the UK contract, while very lucrative, meaning that it's going to be great for Palantir Technologies, it is spread over a course of several years, meaning that it might not show up as a major milestone in any particular earnings report. And I can agree and disagree with that. Yes, clearly we are not going to see a jump of around $579 million in just one earnings report because it's spread out over 5 years with the potential of adding 2 more years to the contract, but we are going to see an increase of around $100 million per year in their overall earnings reports if they win this contract, and I think that is something to celebrate, considering that Palantir has a very good track record of beating on their overall revenue projections. If Palantir is awarded this contract, it could be huge for the overall share price temporarily, where it could get close to $20 per share and surge in price, which I think people should take profits off of that, and then it will inevitably start to come back down to earth, which will give investors a good buying opportunity before it eventually levels out in their overall share price, so they can then achieve and reach their next catalyst. So Palantir Technologies is primed to win this contract. I'm very confident in it, but we are just going to have to wait and see because only time will tell. It also seems that various analysts, including the investor celebrity named Jim Kramer, who runs CNBC's Mad Bunny, started to comment very positively about Palantir's PLTR stock. In a report, he said that they had a really good quarter and they actually live up to their hype. So I'm reluctant to say anything bad about them, and they are going to make money. So I say Palantir. 2 cheers for Palantir. And that's Jim Kramer's comments about Palantir's PLTR shares, which are up over 148% in 2023. So Palantir is getting a lot of good attention. Investor celebrities like Jim Kramer as well as Cathie Wood are piling into Palantir Technologies. And then we also have more credible analysts such as Daniel Ives from Wedbush saying that this company could surge up to $25 over the next 12 months, on top of them already increasing 148% this year, which we predicted in previous videos. So Palantir is really feeling the love lately, and I would suggest looking further into this company, but I personally do not advocate for more than a 5% initial portfolio allocation to any singular risky growth company because we want to practice proper risk management here, and there are a plethora of other companies that are also worth investing into. There's no sense in piling just into one company when there are so many other companies that are doing well, which would include another company that Jim Kramer had positive comments about, which was Sofi Technologies. We analyzed this in a previous video where CNBC's Jim Kramer, who is the same investor celebrity who recently came out with a very positive statement about Palantir Technologies, also started to talk very well about Sofi Technologies, and we have been covering both of these stocks for around 2 years. So it's good to see that they are getting some mainstream love on mainstream media. Kramer's comments about Sofi Technologies says, "I think if anything, I'm a buyer, not a seller of Sofi." And clearly this is not actually as positive as the comments he gave about Palantir Technologies, but I'll admit that this is still very good that he is a buyer and not a seller of Sofi's SOFI stock. Therefore, Jim Kramer is endorsing both of these companies, and for me personally, I do not like Jim Kramer's picks. He has some really good ideas when he refers to very large blue chip companies, which anyone could predict that are going to do well, but when he starts to talk about more risky companies, I really don't think he's a very good analyst in that regard, but I do agree with his comments about Palantir Technologies and Sofi Technologies. These are both very good and fundamentally strong companies with very impressive growth ahead of them. For instance, in 2023's second quarter, SoFi Technologies, in their net lending segment, brought in revenues that increased to 29% year over year, which is not too shabby at all. On top of that, we also have very good catalysts coming up for this company, such as people flooding into SoFi Technologies to refinance their federal student loans, considering that interest rates are so high. And this is going to add it to SoFi's overall top of the line and hopefully their bottom line as well. So although federal student loans are essentially due and they are accruing interest right now, this is just going to provide a tailwind for SoFi Technologies. Even though it's not good for borrowers, it is good for SoFi Technologies. But what is good for borrowers is when they go to SoFi to refinance their overall student loan, you can either lower your interest rate or potentially spread it out over a longer period of time, or both. And of course, the other catalyst was SoFi Technologies underwriting the initial public offering for Instacart, ticker symbol CART, ticker name CART. And to quote from a segment from the Financial Times report, they said that winning a role on one of the most high-profile U.S. listings of the year is a milestone for SoFi. SoFi is a legitimate and respected bank with serious prestige, and this has really put them on the map. Anthony Noto, who is the CEO of SoFi Technologies, even commented on their very impressive deposits which are coming in, where he says, "We are really stealing share from big banks, and so we've been able to add more than $2 billion of deposits in each quarter since getting our bank license." This is extremely positive news, and it really echoes Jim Kramer's overall positive sentiment in regards to SoFi Technologies. Lastly, I want to add two other things about SoFi Technologies before we talk about their upcoming earnings report. SoFi Technologies is approaching profitability by the end of the year, and that is another phenomenal catalyst, but the best part about SoFi that I like is that they are a safe and stable company. They literally survived the regional banking crisis as a newer financial institution, and this is particularly impressive when major large banks started to go out of business due to bank runs and things like that, but SoFi still held strong due to their resiliency and strength and amazing fundamentals. So now let's wrap out the video talking about their upcoming earnings report and how you could take part in that. SoFi Technologies, ticker symbol SOFI, announced plans to host a conference call to discuss their financial and operating results for the third quarter of 2023, which will be on Monday, October 30th at 8 a.m. Now, you can also go to their website over on their investor relations section of their website, which is linked here on screen, or you can go to the description and click on this article to view this hyperlink, and they will be live streaming that at around 7 a.m. if you have time. But if you are going to be working during that time, don't worry about it. I will do a full analysis after they come out with their overall earnings, and you should expect that sometime on Monday night. Lastly, if you want to know the projections about what SoFi is anticipated to bring in for the quarter and why I think they could potentially beat on their overall projections, which should increase the overall share price, don't forget to comment, subscribe, and tune in for my next video, which I will be analyzing about SoFi's overall earnings. So with that being said, go ahead and annihilate that like button if you want more videos on Palantir Technologies or SoFi Technologies. Subscribe if you are new. Don't forget to become a member of this channel for as little as 99 cents. And with that being said, I will see you in the next YT video.